The city never slept. Towering skyscrapers stood like silent giants, neon lights casting a vibrant glow over the restless streets. Amidst the bustling crowd, Lucas walked alone, an outsider in a world that never stopped moving. Lucas was a gifted architect, his deep blue eyes reflecting a mind that sought perfection in every design. Outwardly, he was successful, but beneath the surface, he carried a wound that time had never healed. The pain of betrayal. The person he had once trusted with his heart had left him for another, shattering his faith in love. Sophia, on the other hand, was a doctor with a compassionate soul. Her soft brown hair framed a face that radiated warmth, and her gentle smile had a way of making the world seem lighter. She believed in sincerity, in the beauty of small moments, and most of all, in love, even if love had the power to wound. They met at a dinner party among friends. Lucas arrived late, unintentionally taking a seat across from Sophia. A fleeting glance, a subtle smile, and then a conversation that unfolded effortlessly, as if they had known each other for years. That night, neither of them realized a new story had just begun. After that night, Lucas and Sophia couldn't stop thinking about each other. The first hesitant texts, the late-night calls, the dates filled with laughter, everything unfolded so naturally as if they had been waiting for this all along. Lucas was drawn to Sophia's warmth, the way she listened intently, the way her eyes sparkled when he spoke of his dreams. Sophia admired Lucas's passion and depth. A man who carried past wounds, yet still aspired to build masterpieces that touched people's hearts. They spent countless hours together, sharing their visions of the future. Lucas spoke of the buildings he was designing, the spaces he wanted to transform into something meaningful. Sophia told stories of her patience, the simple yet profound moments in her work. She helped Lucas see that beauty wasn't just found in grand architecture, but in the smallest details of life. Together they imagined a future, traveling to distant cities, waking up to golden sunlight streaming into their cozy apartment, and perhaps one day, a family filled with laughter. For the first time in years, Lucas believed he could love again. Yet, even as his heart opened, shadows of the past lingered. Once, he had loved someone with all he had, only to be betrayed by her, with a colleague. The feeling of being replaced, of being forgotten, still haunted him. Sophia sensed this hesitation in Lucas. The moments he withdrew into silence, the way his eyes clouded over as if trapped in old memories. But she never pushed him. She knew that love wasn't just about passion, it was about patience. She believed that if she remained steadfast, Lucas would eventually learn to trust again. But love, no matter how strong, is never without its trials, and theirs was about to begin. Lucas and Sophia's love grew stronger each day, but the presence of someone in her life slowly began to stir an unease inside him. Nathan. Nathan had been Sophia's best friend since childhood. They had grown up together, shared memories from mischievous adventures to life's toughest moments. Her family treated Nathan like a son, and he moved around her home with the ease of someone who belonged there. When Lucas first met Nathan, everything seemed normal. Nathan was friendly, charismatic, and appeared genuinely happy for their relationship. He told old stories about Sophia, their childhood escapades, the struggles they had overcome together, how her family always saw him as part of their own. Lucas smiled, reassuring himself that there was nothing to worry about. But over time, Lucas began noticing things that unsettled him. It was the way Nathan knew every tiny detail about Sophia, how she liked her tea or coffee, the books she adored, even the way she bit her lip when lost in thought. It was the way he moved around her apartment with effortless familiarity, as if it were his own space. Lucas knew, logically, that Sophia and Nathan were just friends, that she had never hidden anything from him. But logic didn't silence the growing discomfort in his chest. And then old memories surfaced. The feeling, it was the same as before, when he had once believed he was the only one in his lover's heart, only to realize that someone else had always been there, closer than he had ever imagined. Sophia didn't seem to notice the shift in Lucas, or perhaps she assumed he wasn't bothered by her closeness with Nathan. But inside him, a storm was brewing, one that was only waiting for the right moment to break. Lucas tried to convince himself that he was overthinking. Sophia loved him. She had made it clear that Nathan was just a close friend. But the unease clung to him like a shadow, refusing to fade. Sophia noticed the shift in Lucas. He spoke less, sometimes retreating into himself for no reason. When they were together, his eyes would occasionally drift away, as if trapped between the present and a past that refused to let go. She tried to reassure him, to remind him that Nathan was not a threat, but some wounds ran too deep, too old to be erased by mere words. Then came the breaking point. On a Sunday afternoon, they were sitting at their favorite cafe, discussing wedding plans. Sophia wanted something small and intimate, just family and close friends. Lucas agreed completely, until she mentioned Nathan. "Is an important part of my life, Lucas. Of course I want him there." Her words cut through Lucas like a blade. He had tried to suppress his jealousy, had told himself he was overreacting, but in that moment, everything cracked. "So he still matters more than anything else?" Lucas let out a dry chuckle, but his eyes betrayed his pain. Sophia froze. "Lucas, what are you saying? This isn't a choice between you and Nathan. He's my friend, but you're the one I love." "Are you sure?" Lucas murmured, shaking his head, feeling as though her words weren't enough to quiet the turmoil inside him. The argument escalated. Sophia tried to explain, but Lucas couldn't hear anything over the echoes of old wounds reopening. Eventually, exhausted, she stood up. "I think we need some time to cool down." She walked away, leaving Lucas sitting there, drowning in a terrifying realization, the feeling that he was about to lose her. After Sophia walked away, Lucas remained at the cafe, staring blankly ahead. He didn't know how long he sat there, only that his thoughts stormed inside his mind, relentless and unforgiving. That night, Sophia sent him a message. It was short, but it carried a weight that pressed against his chest. "Lucas, I love you, but if we don't trust each other, this love won't survive." Lucas didn't reply. He set his phone down, his heart aching. The next morning, without thinking, his steps led him to the apartment they had chosen to live in after their wedding. When he looked up, the lights were on. Through the window, he saw a familiar figure. Nathan. Nathan was there, in their home. Lucas felt his chest tighten. His mind screamed at him to be rational, to not let his past dictate his present. But as he stood there, frozen in place, the old wounds bled fresh. The couch, the bookshelves, the faint scent of Sophia's favorite candle, this was supposed to be their sanctuary. And yet, Nathan moved around as if he belonged. Lucas clenched his fists. Maybe there was an explanation. Maybe Sophia would tell him something that would make this all go away. But maybe, just maybe, he had been a fool to believe this time would be different. His feet moved before his mind could catch up. His heart pounded like a war drum as he pushed through the building's entrance, climbing the stairs two at a time. When the door swung open, Sophia turned, startled. "Lucas, what are you doing here?" Lucas didn't respond immediately. His eyes swept across the apartment. The sofa they had chosen together, the paintings they had hung, everything still in its place, yet everything felt foreign. And there, standing in the middle of the room, was Nathan. "So this is why you walked away yesterday." His voice was cold, his expression unreadable, but his eyes burned with hurt. Sophia frowned. "What are you talking about?" Lucas inhaled deeply before slowly pulling the engagement ring from his finger. "Do you have any idea how hard I've fought to trust again, Sophia?" His voice trembled, not with anger, but with heartbreak. "But it looks like I was wrong." Sophia's eyes widened, as if unable to believe what was unfolding. "Lucas, it's not what you think." Lucas placed the ring firmly on the table. His voice was steady, but his hands trembled. "Nathan, I hope you take good care of her." Nathan's brows furrowed in confusion. "Lucas, what the hell are you talking about?" Lucas let out a bitter chuckle. "Don't play dumb. You've always been there, haven't you? Closer to her than I ever was." Nathan took a step forward, but Lucas shook his head. "Don't. It doesn't matter anymore." And with that, he turned and walked away, not waiting for an answer, because in his mind, he already had one. and without another word, he turned and walked away. When the door shut behind him, there was no sound of rage, no explosion of fury, just silence. The kind that came when something was breaking beyond repair. Lucas walked through the quiet night, the dim streetlights casting a faint glow over his exhausted face. The anger inside him still burned, but beneath it lay an emptiness far more terrifying. He kept walking, not knowing where he was going. The engagement ring still sat on the table in their apartment, abandoned among memories he once believed would last forever. But now, everything felt broken. Suddenly, his phone vibrated in his pocket. Sophia. His first instinct was to ignore it, but something made him pause. Before he could think, his fingers had already swiped to answer. Lucas stared at the phone as it vibrated in his palm. Sophia. He could ignore it, let it ring, walk away. But before he could stop himself, his fingers swiped to answer. Lucas! Sophia's voice was urgent, almost desperate. Please, just listen to me. Lucas exhaled, but said nothing. You misunderstood, she continued, her voice shaking. Nathan was only at the apartment to help my mom move some furniture. I didn't even know he was coming, and I never lied to you, Lucas. Never. Lucas closed his eyes. A sharp pain throbbed in his chest, a mixture of relief and unbearable guilt. I love you, Lucas, she whispered. But if you can't trust me, how can we go on? Lucas didn't answer, because for the first time he realized maybe he wasn't the victim after all. He said nothing, but he didn't hang up either. You misunderstood, she continued, her voice trembling. Nathan was only at the apartment to help my mom move some furniture. I didn't even know he was coming, and I never lied to you. Lucas closed his eyes, torn between anger and the creeping weight of regret. I love you, Lucas, she said, pain laced in her words. But if you can't trust me, how can we go on? Her words echoed in his mind all night. For the first time, Lucas wondered, was the real threat to their happiness not someone else, but himself? If he didn't change, he would lose Sophia forever. The weeks that followed were a time of deep reflection for Lucas. He sought help, learning to confront his fears instead of letting them control him. Slowly, he came to understand that love wasn't about possession. It was about trust. Sophia never abandoned him. She gave him space to heal, but remained by his side, ready to hold his hand the moment he was ready to reach for hers. And then their wedding day arrived. Inside a small chapel in the heart of the city, sunlight filtered through the stained glass windows, casting soft colors across Lucas's face as he stood waiting. When the doors finally opened, Sophia appeared in a radiant white dress, her eyes filled with love and hope. Before exchanging vows, Lucas gently squeezed her hand, his voice trembling with emotion as he spoke. Today, I'm not just marrying the woman I love. I'm marrying her with a heart that has learned to trust, with the belief that real love can heal all wounds. Sophia, I promise to choose to trust you every single day, no matter how hard it gets. Tears shimmered in Sophia's eyes as she smiled. Lucas, my love for you has never wavered. I promise to stand by your side, to face everything together with you. As they exchanged rings and sealed their love with a kiss, the chapel erupted in applause. Nathan sat beside Sophia's mother, smiling. Later that evening, as guests enjoyed the wedding reception, Lucas stepped outside for a breath of fresh air. He wasn't surprised to see Nathan standing there, quietly watching the glowing cityscape. Lucas walked up beside him. Nathan? Nathan turned, raising an eyebrow. Still think I was after her? He chuckled, but there was no malice in his voice. Lucas sighed, shaking his head. No, not this time. He hesitated before continuing. I'm sorry. I let my past dictate my actions, and I hurt Sophia. Nathan leaned against the railing, crossing his arms. You know, I never saw you as a rival or a replacement. Sophia loves you, Lucas. You just needed to learn how to love her without letting fear get in the way. Lucas let out a small laugh. Thank you for always being there for her. Nathan nodded, clapping Lucas on the shoulder. Welcome to the family. Lucas laughed as well. There was no tension, no doubt, just understanding and acceptance. Inside, Sophia was waiting for him. Lucas turned back toward his wife, then walked toward her, knowing that he had finally found his home. Lucas and Sophia's married life wasn't a picture-perfect fairy tale, but it was beautiful in the most real way. A love that had matured, embraced flaws, and overcome challenges together. They moved into the apartment they had almost lost due to misunderstandings. But this time, everything felt different. It wasn't just a place to live. It was a home they built together. Sophia filled the balcony with small potted flowers, while Lucas meticulously decorated every corner in a way that reflected their shared tastes. Every evening, they cooked dinner together, laughing over the day's events, savoring the quiet moments Lucas once believed he didn't deserve. Nathan remained a part of their lives, but now Lucas no longer felt threatened. Occasionally, the three of them would meet for dinner, and Lucas realized that having someone like Nathan in Sophia's life wasn't something to fear. It was something to appreciate, because it reminded him just how sincere and loyal she was to those she cared about. One crisp autumn afternoon, as Lucas sat by the window reading, Sophia approached him with a playful smile. She placed a small box in his hand. "What's this?" Lucas asked, raising an eyebrow. Sophia simply grinned, her eyes gleaming with excitement. When Lucas opened the box, inside was a pregnancy test. 2 bold red lines staring back at him. His heart seemed to stop for a moment before he looked up at her, eyes filled with overwhelming emotion. "We're going to be parents?" Sophia nodded, and without hesitation, Lucas pulled her into his arms. At that moment, he realized that every trial, every fear from his past had only made this moment even more precious. Because in the end, he had learned the most important lesson of all. Real love isn't about finding perfection. It's about learning to trust, to be patient, and to grow together.